Okay, so quick review. Quick review of what we have already learned. Let's find the tangent of pi over 3. Okay, so do you remember how we did this yesterday? What did we do first? We did what we were talking about over there. We changed this into degrees. So pi is 180. Divided by 3 is 60. So we are finding the tangent of 60 degrees. So we draw a triangle, just like the one on your quiz, except this isn't theta now, this is 60. Right? Now, I know tangent is opposite over adjacent. Correct? So, how do I figure out what opposite and adjacent are? I have it memorized. Across from the 60 is root 3, the hypotenuse is 2, and across from the 30 is 1. Now, this is the angle we're dealing with. Always the angle at the origin. So, opposite is root 3, and adjacent is 1. So the answer to the problem is root 3. Everybody still remember that from yesterday? Let's do one more. Let's find the cosecant of pi over 4. So pi is 180. 180 divided by 4 is 45. So we're finding the cosecant of 45 degrees. So we'll draw our 45 degree angle. Now I got to remember what the sides are for a 45. 1 root 2.
We're going to have to remember those.
Yes. Remember, when the sides match, or the angles match, the sides match. When you have a 45-45, you know 2 of the sides are going to be the same. 1 root 2. Now, cosecant. When I think about SOHCAHTOA, cosecant is not in that because this is sine, cosine, tangent, right? So now I got to remember, cosecant is one of the reciprocal functions. Which one is it? Sine. Cosecant goes with sine. So if sine is opposite over hypotenuse, then cosecant is going to be hypotenuse over opposite. Follow that thought process. That's what your brain has to be running through when you do this problem. So the hypotenuse is root 2, and the opposite side is 1. This is the opposite side. So the answer is just root 2. How do we feel about that, okay? You okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, when do I see you again? Do I see you tomorrow? Do I see you the next day?
Last tomorrow.
So I only see you tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, tomorrow we will have a little quiz. It'll have a couple of problems just like this. Remind me and we will practice before we do it. But what that means is you have to have memorized your gold sheet. Because in order to do a problem like cosecant, you have to remember that it is the reciprocal of the sine. And in order to draw the triangle, you have to remember that you have 1 root 2, right? So next time, I guess which is tomorrow, we'll have a 2-problem quiz just like this. We'll practice ahead of time, but you'll have to have done some memorization by then. Okay?
You'll get a hug at the end.
And you get a hug at the end. Yeah, how about that? Haven't had one of those in a while, have you? Okay, here we go. Now we're going to do some calculator work. Here is the first thing I want you to remember. Now, we've already talked about how to type some of this stuff in, so we'll go back over that. But the first thing I want you to do, Mason, what's going on over here? Is that you? I need you to take your pencil, and I want you to put some kind of mark, whether it's a D for degree or a check mark, something, next to problem A. We are on page 33, part 4. Next to problem A, I want you to mark it, like with a D for degrees or a check mark or something. A, C, E, F, I, and J. Now, why is this important? All of those problems have angles that are measured in degrees. All of the other ones have angles that are measured in radians. If there is a degree mark in the problem, it's a degree. If there's no degree mark, it's a radian. Now, why is that important? Because when you type it into your calculator, you have to tell the calculator if you are putting in angles in degrees or radians. So the first thing I want you to do, we're going to do the checked problems that you just did. We're going to do all of those first. I want you to go to mode on your calculator. It's in the top row of buttons, see mode. And the third one down, at least for me, it's the third one down. Do you see how it gives you the option of degrees or radians? You need to have degrees highlighted. You can type everything incorrectly, kids, but if you're not in the right mode, you will not get the right answer. So right now, everybody is highlighting degree because we're going to do all the degree problems. Got it? Okay, so we're going to quit, go back to the home screen, we're ready to go. First problem is a tough one. Secant 10. Now you are looking at me and you're saying, Mrs. Ford, you made me buy this calculator. I spent $100 and it does not even have a secant button. And you're right, it doesn't. To type this into your calculator, you need to remember that secant is the reciprocal of cosine. Remember, cos don't go together, so secant has to be the reciprocal of cosine. So you are going to literally type in 1 divided by cosine 10. So the number 1 divided by cosine 10. And you should have gotten 1.0154. Is that what you got?
Yes, ma'am.
How do we type a secant on our calculator? 1 divided by cosine. There is no other way to do it. So whatever you are thinking is wrong. Some of you are seeing a cosine with a little -1. That's a whole different thing. Mrs. Ford is not leading you astray. It's a whole different thing. The only way to type a secant in on your calculator is 1 divided by cosine. Okay? Next problem that we're doing is C. Now I do have a tangent button, so I'm going to go ahead and press it. Now, do you remember 28 degrees and 11 minutes? Does anybody remember practicing that before Christmas? Let's review that. We typed 28. Well, first, did you type tangent? You got to type tangent first. So type tangent, and then 28. Now, who remembers where the degree mark comes from? It is second angle. It's your apps button. See how angle is written? Look where I'm pointing. See how angle is written? So if you press second angle, do you see the degree mark right there?
Oh, yeah.
And then press 11. And then we go back to second angle and go down 1 and get your minutes. And the answer to that one is 5358. That is the answer to C. So one more time to type that in, we press tangent, 28, second, apps, enter, 11, second, apps, down 1, enter. And you should get 0.5358. E, cotangent 1319. Now we're going to type in 1319 the same way we typed in 2811 a minute ago, but I don't have a cotangent button.
So you
Gotta do what, Mason?
tangent?
Well, I don't do tangent, I do 1 divided by tangent. Yep. So you are going to type in 1 divided by tangent. To get your reciprocal functions, you type 1 divided by. So 1 divided by tangent, 13, second, apps, enter, 19, second, apps, down 1, enter. And you should have gotten 4.2248. Is that what you got? There will be a section on your test, guys, that this is all you have to do. You just have to prove to me you know how to use a calculator. So let's be practicing along. All right, so what's the next one? F? Well, the good news is I have a sign button. The bad news is I need seconds on this problem. I need 13 seconds. So let's type in what we remember first of all. So we press sign, 127, second, apps, enter, 18, second, apps, down 1, enter, 13, all right. Who remembers Jalen Buford? Who remembers where the seconds mark is? Remember, this is the weird one. Anybody remember? It's alpha something.
Alpha plus.
Alpha plus, that's right. So alpha plus sign, and that's 0.7954. So these two buttons, the degree and the minute, are in your angle menu, second apps. But this guy is over above your plus sign in green or whatever color, so you have to alpha plus to get that one. Remember that? We talked about that before Christmas. Cotangent, 158.19. Well, we already did a cotangent, so this should be easy for you. What do I need to type to get a cotangent? 1 divided by tangent. No special things going on here, just 1 divided by tangent. And did you get negative 2.5150? Do not be alarmed. Sines and cosines and tangents and all of them can be negative. We haven't run into much of that yet, but we will. You will get negative answers and it's perfectly okay. Okay, do the last one, Jay. Easy, no trickiness, just press tangent. Negative 1.7113. Did I type that in right? Everybody good? Now, those are all of the degree problems. Okay, so we're going to do the radian ones, then we'll go to lunch. Before we start typing in the other ones, we got to go back to mode. Go back to mode and change it. Highlight radians. Make sure radians is highlighted. Okay, so now we're gonna do problem B. You are going to type in exactly what it says. So you're going to type cosine pi, and pi is right under your clear button. It's above the caret button. See it? That's a second something. Everybody see? You type pi divided by 9. And the answer to B, problem B, is 0.9397. Do not do anything fancy or tricky. Type it in exactly the way it's written on the paper. Cosine pi divided by 9. Use your pi button. You got it.
What did you get? So are we just gonna write it like 0.9396 all the way out, like the first
No,
four numbers?
0.9397. I've been rounding off to 4 decimal places. That's kind of standard in trigonometry. All right, what's the next one we have to do? D? Now, before you get carried away with D, kids, how am I going to put a cosecant into my calculator? 1 divided by sine. Now, 1 divided by sine. Cosecant is 1 divided by sine. Now notice, the minute you do 1 divided by sine, a parenthesis comes up, right? So just type 5 pi divided by 16. 1 divided by sine, and then 5 pi divided by 16. And the answer should be 1.2027. So again, the nice thing is, there's no trickiness here. You type in exactly what's written. G. What am I going to type in for G? 1 over, this is G, 1 over cosine 18 pi over 23. 1 divided by cosine 18 pi divided by 23. Negative 1.2891. And one more, H. Cosecant. How do I do a cosecant?
1 divided by sine.
1 divided by sine 2. Period. Stop. 1 divided by sine 2. 1.0998. You are exactly right. All right, before you all go storming out, let me see what time we need to be back. What time is it? 35, 46. Everybody back at 46. 46.